Hey guys, hope you're doing well. First off, quick apology for not putting out any content for the last couple of weeks. I've just had so much to do in my own private life that I've just not had a chance to sit down and record anything. I've got lots of content to do, lots of notes that I've made, content I want to bring you guys, lots of questions that you guys have asked that I'm hoping to film and record, bring to you guys. So the thing I want to talk to you about today, and the thing that I think is probably one of the most important things in jiu-jitsu, is understanding the principles of jiu-jitsu and not focusing just on techniques and submissions. Far too many people who start jiu-jitsu or begin jiu-jitsu, and this is not just white belts but blue belts, as purple belts as well, their focus is entirely on putting as many different techniques in their skill set as they can. That's not to say there's anything wrong with that. You need to obviously understand how to finish submissions, whether that's an armbar or a kimura or a guillotine. You need to understand how to finish them from various positions, whether that's side control or mount or half guard or wherever it is. But the emphasis shouldn't be collecting as many different techniques as you can until you understand and can apply the principles of jiu-jitsu and things like posture, position, base, pressures, efficiency, breathing. All of these things are far more important to jiu-jitsu than knowing how to, set up and finish 40 different arm bars. Yesterday I was rolling with a couple of guys, two older guys, both in the 50s. And before I'd roll with them, I did say to the class that you need to focus more on not just trying to submit your opponent, but focus on getting into good positions first and getting into, having good posture and good pressures before you even think about finishing a submission. And that also applies to, moving on to the next position. If you pass someone's guard and then you get yourself into side control, before you even think about going to knee on belly and then to mount, it's probably a good idea to kind of just settle and make sure that you've got good control of the person. You've got good position and good posture and good pressure on that person and not giving them space. If you try to rush from side control to mount, maybe miss out knee right in the middle, but you just try and rush to the next position, there's a strong chance that you're going to leave a lot of space and you're going to give the person on the bottom the chance to get back to guard. At best, or at worst, you might end up being reversed and put on the bottom. So you should always try and focus on settling into one position first and then move into the next. And if you're in a competition and you've passed somebody's guard and you've got into side control, so you've got some points for that, then why rush to the next position anyway? Why even move to the next position if you can control someone in side control and you can keep them there for the duration of the match? Then just keep them there and win the match on points, right? If you are a points player or something like that. The only time you would think about rushing or moving to the next position is if you're down on points. Then you might want to go to knee ride and get some more points, or you might want to go to mount and get some more points. And maybe it's near the end of the match, so at that point you might want to rush, but really you shouldn't be thinking about rushing from position to position. You should be thinking about settling into that position and controlling in that position and having good base and good posture and good pressures. So anyway, I'm rolling with these two guys yesterday, and after I'd already explained this to the class, so I'm in the closed guard of one of these guys, and he gets like a 2-on-1 grip on my wrist here. He's like trying to pull my arm forward, probably maybe set up an armbar or something. I don't know what he was trying to work, but he had both hands on my wrist and he was trying to pull my arm. So if you can imagine, I'm sitting up in closed guard like this, and I've got my arm here, and he's pulling with two arms on my wrist, and he's not able to move my arm. No, it's not, despite what you might think, it's not these massive biceps that are preventing him from straightening out my arm. It's just this structure, this right angle structure here, me having my elbow attached to my hip. So when he's pulling, he's not just pulling my arm, he's pulling all of my body. Now, if I had weak posture down in my hips and I didn't have my tailbone tucked under, then he might be able to pull me forward if I kept everything connected. But I've also got good posture with my hips tucked underneath. So when he's trying to pull, he's not moving anything. It's like the whole structure is my arm, my elbow, my shoulder, my hip, my hips, my knees on the floor. Everything is just one solid structure. So he's not just pulling my arm, he's pulling all of my body. And that's all of my body weight, which is, I don't know, 80 kilos at the moment, against his 2 hands on my wrist. And I said to him, it's not about strength. This is not strength. This is not me using any type of attribute. It's about me having good structure and good base, good posture. So these are the things, I think, I mean, that's just one simple example, but these are the things that you need to focus on in your jiu-jitsu game as a white belt, as a blue belt, purple, brown, black. It took me a long time to get to black belt, you know, from white belt to black belt. And only just now am I learning to understand jiu-jitsu. It's very, very difficult. My coach always said to me, you know, from day one, he emphasized base, posture, pressures, efficiency, all these things that we talk about now, or I talk about now matter-of-factly. But at the time, it was just like, yeah. I just want to roll. I just want to learn techniques. I just want to be able to finish people. It's only now that I'm beginning to really understand the importance of them and put it into practice. So I don't expect you guys who are, you know, new to jiu-jitsu, white belts, blue belts, or whatever, to utilize this as much as you should. But if you even just begin to understand it and start trying to use it, especially you guys who are older, you know, when you pass 40, it's important that you have these principles and you use these principles more than anything else. You know, attributes are just nothing. You can be as strong as you like, you can be as fast as you like. You're always going to meet somebody who's stronger, faster, more athletic, more explosive. There will always be somebody, so you can't just rely on those attributes. Attributes can be good, they can be useful. Don't rely on them, but rely on those fundamental principles of jiu-jitsu, and you will, I think, be much better at jiu-jitsu. You'll grow much better at jiu-jitsu. You'll be safer in jiu-jitsu. You know, you won't be getting destroyed by everyone in the gym day in, day out. Even as a beginner and you're rolling with somebody who's much more experienced, much more, you know, trained much more than you, or even someone who's bigger, you won't be getting destroyed as much if you really focus and deploy these fundamentals, the principles of jiu-jitsu. It's the most important thing you could ever do for jiu-jitsu, or for your own jiu-jitsu. And like I say, collecting techniques is not necessarily a bad thing. You know, it's great to know 50 triangles or 50 triangle setups from different positions, but it will only get you so far. You know, there's always going to be somebody who knows 51 triangles or 51 triangle defenses. But the principles never change. The fundamentals never change. All of those things, you know, good base, good posture, good structure, all of those things will just always be there and will always help. If you've got good, solid posture in close guard, you're not going to get armbarred. You're not going to get triangled. There was two guys a couple of weeks ago rolling. There was a white belt and a blue belt. They had a roll for 18 minutes, and the white belt submitted the blue belt 13 times, something like that, in a round. And of those 13 times, 8 of those submissions were triangle. He got 8 triangles on this guy. Now, the first time you might think, oh, that guy knows how to do a triangle. That was a good triangle. That he set that triangle up well and he finished it. Well done. And the second time I think, oh, this guy really knows how to do triangles. He's good at triangles. The third time you might think, why is he catching me in triangles all the time? Maybe I'm doing something wrong. He might be good at triangles, but maybe I'm doing something wrong. By the time it gets to the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th time you're being triangled, you've got to start taking responsibility and accountability for being triangled. Yes, he might be good at triangles. Yes, that might be all he knows. He might have 50 triangle setups in his bag. But at some point, you need to take responsibility and accountability for being triangled that many times. You need to think, well, maybe my posture's poor. Maybe, you know, maybe what I'm doing is allowing him to triangle me. That's quite often the case. It's definitely the case if you're getting triangled 8 times in a round, it's definitely the case that you're doing something wrong as well as he doing something right. If you focus on those good, solid fundamentals, principles of jiu-jitsu with good base, good posture, good structure, you're probably not going to get triangled 8 times in a round. And I would like to see that person or those 2 people go through that round again after understanding that and after trying to utilize that and see how many times they get triangled then. Well, anyway, that's it for this video, guys. So, you know, if you found it useful, as always, click that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel if you've not done so already. Leave your comments, feedback, suggestions down below. If you want to see some stuff in the gym, some techniques or anything like that, or me putting these principles into action, showing you exactly what I mean when I talk about base and posture and pressures and things like that, then, you know, let me know down below and I'll be sure to bring that to you. In the meantime, you know, if you've got any other feedback or comments like that, then you can always email me. The email address is on the website. I'll leave the link down below. And I'll see you again in the next video. Take care of yourself, guys. See you soon.